One of the devil's biggest tricks he's ever played on Christians is to get us to think that we don't have the power to do anything or change anything in our lives. He wants us to think that everything that happens, good or bad, especially bad, is God's will. God wanted it to happen. It's His sovereignty. He's just trying to teach us something. We don't understand it. This is what the devil wants you to think. Now, I know what I'm saying might sound contrary to what you've been taught, but I'm here to tell you, God has made you more powerful than you realize. He has given you power. He has given you love. He's given you a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1:7, not a spirit of fear. John 10:10 says, the thief, the enemy, he only comes to steal, to kill, and destroy. And then Jesus says, but I've come to give you life in abundance. So when things happen that are not good, when something is stolen, killed, or destroyed, give the devil credit. That's him doing it. It's not God. He wants you to think it's God, so you don't do anything about it. But I want to show you what Jesus actually taught us to do and what to pray and how to speak and how to operate in our God-given authority. It's not us who's doing it. It's Christ who lives in us that is doing it. Even Jesus said, it's the Father in me. He does the works. Well, the Father's in you as well, if you've made Jesus the Lord of your life, which I'm assuming you have if you're watching this, listening to this. Let me read you something because I want to make sure that we're operating correctly. We're doing things the way Jesus taught us to do them. That's going to affect your results. So let's listen to Mark 11:23. Jesus is talking. Context is he had just cursed the fig tree. Remember that? He told the fig tree not to produce any more figs from this point forward. The disciples walked by it, remembered what he said, saw the tree, and were like, it worked. The tree did what you said. And Jesus just said this. He answered them. It's almost like they were asking the question, how'd you do that? He answered them saying, have faith in God. Now, the literal translation of that actually says, have the God kind of faith. Interesting, right? Then he explains and teaches how you can operate in this as well. I assure you, I solemnly tell you, whoever says to this mountain, so you just talk about a literal tree, not a figurative tree. There was a literal tree. He told it what to do and it obeyed him. And then he says, whoever. So it doesn't say just the apostles who were there on earth with him at that time can do this. He says, whoever says to this mountain, be lifted up and thrown into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says is going to take place, it will be done for him. Interesting, right? If you believe, do not doubt, it will be done for you. The person who believes that what he says is going to take place, it will be done for him. I want to read that to you in another translation here. I tell you the truth. You can say to this mountain, may you be lifted up and thrown into the sea, and it will happen. But you must believe it will happen and have no doubt in your heart. This is where we get the notion that we have what we say. And you've operated in this before, you just didn't realize it. And typically, we operate it in the negative. We'll say things like, yep, a bunch of layoffs are happening all around my company. Just a matter of time before it's me. Yeah, everyone in my family's gotten sick. Wife just got sick. Kids are sick. That means I'm next, just waiting for it. Kind of feeling a little scratchiness in my throat, so I think it's already here. We start to say stuff like this. I remember one guy, he owned a mechanic repair shop. I liked the guy. He was a Christian. He had a little Jesus fish on his business card. And I remember one day, I'd referred a bunch of business to him. One day I was up there myself, and we were talking, and we kind of struck up a little bit of a friendship. And he said, I remember he went out front, he stood like this, and he goes, "Yeah, it's going to be a slow year for business, slow year for us financially this year." And I looked at him and I said, "Why would you say that?" In my head, I'm like, why are you repeating the words of the devil? Your enemy, your opponent, the one who wants you to lose. God always leads us to victory. Why would you be speaking words that lead you to defeat? These are words that steal, kill, and destroy. Finances, business being killed, business being destroyed, helping hundreds of people, being a blessing. His business was a blessing to our community. Man, he was fair, he was awesome, he was helpful, he was positive. Then he gets out there and he starts saying to this mountain, he starts saying these words. He believes they will happen. He believes that what he says is going to take place. And guess what? It did. He was out of business within 6 months. Literally closed his doors, had to go find something else to do. Well, yeah, Jesus is telling you that's how it works. Let's just use this in the positive. What do you want to happen? Notice, please notice, Jesus did not say, if you pray to God and ask him to move the mountain, he will move it for you. He says, you speak to the mountain. It'll be done for you. I want to read you, that was Mark's version. I want to read you what Matthew said. Here's Matthew 21:21. And this Amplified translation brings out a really cool thing that'll help you, a really cool snippet, if you will. Jesus replied to him, I assure you, I solemnly say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, or allow yourself to be drawn in two directions, you will not only do what was done to the fig tree, but even if you say to this mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, it will happen. Your words have power. Proverbs 18:20 and 21 says, there are a consequence to your words, and you will have to eat the fruit of what you speak, good or bad. That means you have the ability to say something and get the job done. This is how you go proactive with your faith. Stop being a reactive Christian. Stop being a Christian who just thinks your whole job in life is to survive the devil's attacks. No, man, you need to get in the game. You need to get out in front. You need to do what Paul said. Start running your race as one who wins, not one who just survives and makes it through. We got to get out in front. And you do that by speaking to the mountain. What do you want to happen? Speak to your finances. Or are you just speaking about them? Are you telling everybody what the devil's doing? Walking around, I'm under attack, starting a prayer chain on Facebook. What are we doing? God gave you power. He gave you authority. He said, you say something. You do something about it. In Exodus 14, when Moses was parting the Red Sea, you know what it actually said? If you haven't read it in a while, go back and reread it. He says, God goes, why are you crying out to me? Hold up your staff. Tell the sea what to do. Get your people moving. I think there's a time in life for that. It doesn't say, pray to God and ask him to move it. It says, if you have faith and do not doubt, you speak to the mountain, it'll obey you. Do you have a mountain of debt? You need to tell it what to do. This isn't weird woo-woo stuff. This is Jesus' instructions. He says, I tell you the truth. You can say to this mountain, be removed and be cast in the sea, if you don't doubt, if you believe that what you say will take place, if you don't allow yourself to be drawn in two directions. That's just the definition of faith. I'm locked in, I believe it. Despite what I see, I live by faith. I spoke it, it's moving, it's happening now. My debt is being eliminated. That perfect job is on the way. I'm speaking to it. God, I thank you for my job. Thank you for that business. Thank you for that increase. I'm speaking health into my body, to my family's bodies. You are healed now in Jesus' name. You tell a headache to leave. If your kid comes to you with a headache, you lay your hands on him and you tell that headache it has to go. That's what Jesus did. Remember, he rebuked the fever off of Peter's mother-in-law. Remember when there was a literal storm on the ocean? It says he rebuked the storm and told it to stop. Peace, be still. Headache, leave. Mountain, move. Fig tree, wither. He says that's how you do it now. The disciples saw it and asked him. And he answered them, have the faith in God. I tell you the truth. You believe and have faith and do not doubt. You will do the same things I did to the fig tree. You can do it to a mountain. You can do it. That does not say you pray to God and ask him to move the mountain. And if he doesn't move the mountain, then it wasn't his will. That's why you're not getting results in your life. You're not telling stuff what to do. You're not using your God-given authority. It's his power that works within you. Ephesians 3:20 tells us this. His power is in us. It's working. And he's able to accomplish exceedingly abundantly above all you could ask, think, or imagine. But you're not asking, you're not thinking, you're not imagining the results you want. You might be doing all those things in the negative. You might be acting like a beggar. You might be pleading with God, begging him to help you. And he's like, hey, get up. I promise to meet your needs. In Philippians 4:19, I promise to meet your needs. In Matthew 6:33, just get up, speak to your mountain, tell it what to do. Man of God, be a woman of God. Let's go. You got more power than you realize. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, God did not give you a spirit of fear, but he did give you a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. That word power is the Greek word dunamis. One of the definitions of that power he gave you is the power that rests upon an army. That's what you have. You have the power that rests upon an army in you and on you. He says, I gave that to you. Do something with it. I love you guys. It's time that we stop just speaking about our problems. Start speaking to them. You tell your finances what to do. You tell your body what to do. James 3:2 says you can bridle the body with your tongue. Did you know that? A lot of scriptures about the power of words. Maybe some people are afraid to teach them. It's right here in the word. It's right here in the book. It's a book of instruction telling us how to operate in the kingdom. But we got to actually do it. So that's what you're going to do today. As soon as this video is over, podcast is over, however you're listening to it, you're going to stop and you're going to say, what do I need to speak to? What have I just been speaking about when I need to speak to it? And what do I need to tell it to do? Most of you, it's going to be finances. Most of you, it's going to be health. Might be a relationship. It's usually one of those three things, right? Okay, well, let's get specific and let's get after it and let's use the power God gave us. I love you guys. If this blessed you, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of these videos or lessons. If you listen to on podcast, make sure you're subscribed. There'll be links in the description below that are going to help you. If you'd like to support what we do, there's an option for that. If you'd like to join our Increase Academy, it's kind of like a success school for Christians. There's a link for that. There's all kinds of cool stuff. We've got some Bible breakdowns and some things that are going to help you win. Let's dive into God's word. Let's become all he created us to be so we can do all the things he created us to do. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.